when they got inducted. And they're still based out of the West Coast. They're in LA, and so I worked closely with his like creative director, and he was sort of like in between, like he was sort of running in between us. They sent out the statue and everything, the recreation of the Woodstock performance, and because they were in LA and they started late even by LA standards, I oftentimes during that installation was here late at night, and so I was here the one night in particular. I was here until the exhibits actually went off, and so I was up there with a work lamp, shining it into the exhibit, like putting the positioning and everything, and I took a picture of it, and I said, does everything look like it's in a good position in here? And this creative director came back and said, that lighting looks awesome. And I'm like, well, none of them are on. it's just a work light. All of the exhibits are out. And so he's like, the shadows, the contrast, they're gorgeous. We have to have it look like that. And I'm like, how am I going to make this exhibit look like it does currently with no other lights on in the entire gallery? And so ultimately what we ended up doing is we worked together, and we actually, in that display, because it was a mannequin and it was a prop essentially, it wasn't an actual, technically an artifact, we were comfortable with lighting it with a shop light, and so that was actually lit with a shop light to create those dramatic lines and shadows and whatnot. And so yeah, he was working, he was basically, I was giving him like, you know, feedback, and he was showing Trent, and so I didn't actually have any direct conversations with him, but I was working with his creative director. Another example in the new inductee exhibit that we did a couple years ago was with Carly Simon and that mannequin. She was loaning us the dress and the boots that were on the cover of, what was the album? The one's slipping me. But what we did is we had a poster with the album cover behind it, and she wanted to basically recreate with a mannequin the pose that was on the cover of the outfit of the album that she was wearing the outfit with, and she kind of expressed that to us, like that would be a really cool thing. I would really like it if we could do that. So we did it, and then we figured out like, oh, the way that she was positioned, she was kind of like on her knees and sitting on her heels. Well, it was putting pressure on the boots of the shoes that were on the mannequin that were artifacts, and so we had to kind of adjust a little bit the mannequin so that the weight of the mannequin was actually more on her knees, so that we weren't putting creases in the shoe. And so it's just those small little tweaks. You know, we don't want to compromise those boots and put, you know, added creases to the boots, but we still wanted to try to, as closely as possible, achieve what Carly had in mind in terms of, you know, this exhibit that's, you know, basically honoring her legacy. And so there's those instances where we do get to work with artists, and they give us some ideas, and you know, we don't necessarily, we seek approvals, we get their, you know, their blessing to move forward in that manner. But yeah, the 9 Inch Nails one was one of the more interesting projects that I worked on in that time. But I'm glad it came out. It looked great, I thought. So.
No, it looked great.
Another thing too is it's always difficult, especially when their teams are not, you know, they don't fly in. Like Van Halen has someone that comes in and helps to set up, and that's always really great when they're on site. But it's always kind of difficult when you have to do a FaceTime with someone and they're like, well, what about this? And you're like, oh, God, I wish you were here, because this is so hard to do. But sometimes it happens, you know. With Taylor Swift, her team was heavily involved. Foo Fighters, they were heavily involved. I remember some of those calls were late nights, or, you know, 7 to 8 o'clock calls.
I'll add this. I'll add this. We got sometimes the artists and their team can get a bit too involved.
Yeah.
You're like, like you got to remember that, like, we're a museum. You put on rock shows. We curate exhibits. Let us do our thing. We'll do our great job, but we know what we're doing here too.
There's a right balance.
Yeah, it's a balance. So yeah, all right.